We're going to be cooking today some things out of the little cookbook that I gave you. What I had this summer was I had 3 presentations that I had to do some sort of cooking for, so I thought, let's just do one book for all of them. So we're going to use 2 recipes out of here, and then we've got 2 recipes that are so simple you don't even need a recipe. So that's kind of our way of cooking. I'm from the Holistic Nutrition Center, and that is directly across the street, across Pine, in the little strip mall right across the street there. And what I try to do is I'm trying to get people to eat a healthier diet. Now, there are a lot of diets out there that are really focused on getting people to eat a healthier diet. And mine is a little bit different. If you went to different places, you'd get different diets. For example, if you had a heart problem, you might go on a DASH diet. If you have a sugar problem, you might go on the American Diabetic Association diet. You might read a magazine or see a video and go on the vegan diet or the paleo diet. And the thing that's common in all of those diets, the thing that works in all of them, is those are kind of plant-strong diets. They recommend that you eat a lot more fruits and vegetables, right? Okay, well, my diet from Holistic Nutrition Center starts there too. We eat a lot of plant-strong foods. And I use a lot of stuff from the farmer's market. That's the way that we cook a lot. But I go a lot farther than that because I don't think that we should have one diet just for heart disease and then forget that you also want to prevent cancer. Or one disease for diabetes and you really want to mind your brain at the same time, right? So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the whole picture. That's the holistic nutrition. I'm looking at the whole body and the whole picture. And so I focus on those things that we need all the way through our diets. Let me tell you a couple things that I found in my office. 95% of the people who come to me have never had a nutrition evaluation, and yet the World Health Organization says that most of our chronic disease is because of nutrition. Shouldn't we be doing that? Shouldn't we be going for a nutrition evaluation? I think so. About 75% of the people who come to me have some sort of a digestive issue, and that might prevent them from absorbing the nutrients from all of the good food that they're eating. That's important. So that's actually my specialty, is fixing that problem for people. About 70% of the people who come to me are 10 pounds or more overweight. I think people should be the right weight, and there's a range. I think they should be within the range. When people are overweight and they come to me and they don't lose weight right away, I always think, if you can't lose weight with my diet, then there's something else wrong. And so I start some testing. I start looking for stuff. I start looking for underlying problems that prevent weight loss. And then about 40% of the people who come into my office, I put on a pre-diabetic, like a program to try to get rid of the sugar issues that they're having. A lot of people have sugar issues. So when we talk about therapeutic cooking, for me, what I think therapeutic cooking is I think everybody should come together in the family and cook together. That is therapeutic. People should cook, and just kind of have fun with it. That's therapeutic. But more than anything, I like people to eat a really super healthy diet that addresses their physical needs. And so a therapeutic diet for me would be for people to eat the foods that take them in the direction of health instead of the direction of treatment for illness. So a little bit different way of looking at it, but I think my diet is a whole lot better than any of the diets out there because I take it a lot farther. I look at the individual and try to figure out what that person needs. So that's therapeutic cooking. If you take a look at this little booklet right now, we're going to be doing 2 recipes out of here. And you'll take a look at the writing. It's like really small. And that was actually a mistake. I had it over at the publisher, or over at the printer, and I got there when they were half done with it. And I thought, oh no, one of my groups is a group of elderly people, who have to, I thought, oh great. And then I took this back home and I put it next to like a soup can. It's about the same size. So you want to be able to read the nutrition information on the back of a can. So, yeah. Oh well. And the same thing, for a prescription. The writing is really small. If you can't read this, then go down to the dollar store and pay $1 and get something, or go over to Model Drugs and pay $20 for a really nice looking pair, right? Yeah. So the recipes that we're going to be doing are the first one. I'm going to do the chilled asparagus soup with spinach and avocado, and then, which sounds a little strange, but it turns out it's absolutely delicious. And I'm going to start with the wilted kale with Nuna beans and dried cherries. Okay? So my produce came from Visser Farms today. They actually donated the produce, which I thought was wonderful. We picked up a couple extra things. I have some favorite farmers that I go to. I'm sure you guys all have your favorite farmers that you go to too, but I like I like getting to know the farmers, and I like to, just chat about food and and all sorts of things with them. So let's see here. The Nuna beans, these are from the Shady Side Farm, and I don't know where they're set up today. They're usually over on that side. I didn't see where they're set up today, but they're usually over back that way a little bit. Okay? The Nuna beans are a little bit different than a regular bean. I always soak beans first. I soak them overnight. I try to sprout them a little bit. There's a coating on beans that prevents insects. It's like a natural insecticide that keeps bugs off of it. And if you just cook the beans right away, that will still be on there. And that's rough on people's digestive systems. So I like to soak them for at least overnight. Sometimes I'll soak them for a couple days, and then I'll just keep rinsing them because I want that to come off. But what I did last night was I soaked those, and then I cooked them this morning. And I just cooked them in a little bit of just plain water for about a half an hour. And so they came out like that. So that's what we're using. And that's how you prepare your beans. And I would suggest that you just go ahead and, even if you don't know what recipe you're going to have, is just soak some beans, overnight. And tomorrow, if you think about a recipe that you could use your beans in, fine. But otherwise, use them the next day. But put them like this. You can put these just like this in a salad. They can go in a lot of different things, So just have them in the fridge. All right, so we're going to start with, let me get my recipe out here. We're going to start with our, getting our stove ready. I need my frying pan right here. So we're going to do some wilted kale. And how many of you have worked with kale? Okay, kale has become really popular, and that's a good thing. There are a whole lot of nutrients in there. It's great for a lot of things. I'll let you pull those apart. I'm going to introduce Emily in a little bit. She's going to be doing 2 of the recipes. She's my summer intern. She's running the kids program, the kids cooking program this summer for me. So there are a couple ways that you can work with kale. You can either pull pieces off like that. And if you're working with kids, that's the way that kids should be taught to work with kale. Just have them pull pieces off like that and pull it into bite-sized pieces, and they can just tear it. So a 2-year-old could even do that if you could teach them how to do it, okay? So any of you who have kids and you feel like you're just harried because you're doing all the work, get your 2-year-olds to do it, right? Let me, oh, you're using that here. There we go. All right, so we're both working on getting the kale ready. I think that's my phone. Okay. And I'm going to have you chop that up too.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do here is we got to get this. Make sure my fuel is working. Super. Okay. You know, when you do a cooking demo, you have to bring everything. You got to bring your own stove, your own. Yeah, we even have to bring our own trash barrels and. Okay, so I'm going to use a tablespoon of olive oil, and then we're going to put some onion in there. I might as well chop up the onion right now. I'm just going to use a little bit of the onion. I'm not going to measure everything carefully like on the recipe, just because I want to go fast. But here's what we're doing. Just a little bit of onion. The onion always adds flavor to foods. It's one of those things that, onions have a ton of food value, so I dump them in a lot of stuff. Try to get lots of onion, lots of garlic and stuff, because it's high on the anti-cancer list. So it goes in everybody's diet from my office. I'm going to put about maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon and a half of oil in there. And it's just olive oil. When you buy your olive oil, buy it in a dark bottle, because the light kind of degrades it. All right, and then my onions will go in, and I will just keep adding stuff here. So we've got olive oil, onions, and then we've got some cloves of garlic. And again, this is from Visser. Now sometimes garlic is easy to peel and sometimes it's hard to peel. I'll just use 1 big clove. What I usually do is cut the end off, the part that was in the ground, and then just kind of either smash it with my knife, just bash it like that, and then I've got it kind of chopped up right there, and then I'm going to just slice it a little bit. I'm sorry. Somebody's trying to get a hold of me. I'm tied up right now. Okay, so now I've got garlic in. Okay, and then a cup of my Nuna beans. And watch me carefully measure these. That's kind of how I cook at home. It depends on how much I've got. If it says to use a half of a green pepper and I've got 3/4 left, I'm just going to use the 3/4, Or sometimes I'll just put the whole thing in, if I don't want anything left over. I had somebody one time complain because they said, they didn't want to have all the stuff left over. And I said, well, then just use it, Okay. A little bit of salt and pepper to taste. We'll get that in a minute. And then the kale goes in. Now kale will shrink down a little bit, but not as much as like spinach would. And I'm going to just get that in here. And all I'm doing, I'm going to get it to the point where it will shrink just a little bit. It's going to be wilted. And then I'll put a couple other things in here. This is something that's not at the farmer's market. These are dried cherries. they're like having dried raisins at home, but it's a totally different flavor. These are from Traverse City, so they're Michigan cherries, so it's local. These are good. I always have these around for people with arthritis. Cherries are really good for people with arthritis. They used to say that to eat a bowl of cherries if you had, arthritis or even gout. Eat a bowl of cherries. That was your treatment. So if you're going to do, a treatment from the kitchen, that would be one thing you could do. And I really think that our primary care should be from our kitchen. I really think that's where we should have our primary care. So if you can figure out the right foods to eat, you don't need care for the most part. You need emergency care, but that's pretty much it. You won't have chronic problems if you treat at home in your kitchen and you know how to do that. Okay, this is pretty much done. I'm going to add half a cup of cherries. Again, very well measured. Okay, and then a little thing. Kale is a little bit, a little bit bitter. And when you have foods that are bitter, it's kind of interesting. The bitter foods really help your liver. They help clean out your liver. So you want to have bitter foods, but you don't need to eat them bitter. I like to sweeten it up just a little bit with the cherries, and then I've got some balsamic vinegar. This one happens to be cherry balsamic vinegar to make it even a little bit nicer, and this is all you need to do. That's it. Okay? So this dish is totally done and ready to serve. And how long did that take? Doesn't take very long at all. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with kale. So, some people are overdoing kale. They're putting kale in everything. A kale shake every day. But, you really need to be eating a variety of foods. There we go. So that's... Yeah? Yeah? And on top of that, it's delicious. You can add salt and pepper if you want to. I just left it out. So, all right, so we're going to move to a second dish, and this is going to be a raw food dish. This one is totally raw foods that we're going to just combine. And I've got to tell you, we're going to switch back a page to the chilled asparagus soup with spinach and avocado. I didn't get spinach today, so we are going to substitute. And I love to substitute stuff. I'm always substituting stuff because I don't always have everything in the recipe. So for this one, we're going to substitute lettuce for the spinach. I pulled a few things out of my garden this morning. I got some mint, and this is our garnish. Remind me to put the garnish on the soup. Sometimes I'll forget that. And then I brought some scallions from my garden too. And these, you can get all this stuff from here. I just got them from home. All right. So in this recipe, it calls for a Kirby cucumber. That's like one of the burpless cucumbers with the really thin skins. But I was given these pickles. I'm going to use these instead. So you get to peel.
Okay.
She's such a good helper, isn't she? That's awesome. Okay, now asparagus is almost done. We're almost done with that for the season here. But you can still find it at a few of the farmers. What I like to do is I line it up here, and we always get our little kids to do this. They line it up, and then I have them break off a couple pieces at the end, and that kind of gives us a guide of where to trim it. So my pieces were all about the same size. They're about 1.5 inches. I'm just going to cut it off right there. So all of them get cut off at 1.5 inches. Those are the tough stems, and those can go right into our composter. Okay, now the other trick is kind of interesting. For this soup, you don't need those great ends. Everybody likes the flour parts. So what I like to do is I like to cut this part off, and I'm going to save this for steaming, yeah? And then we're going to use the stems for this. Let's see, I'll put those here. Okay, so the stems are going to be all ground up, so there's no point in using the best part of the asparagus. So we're going to take the part that's not as good. And I'm just going to cut it up into some smaller pieces so I can blend it really well. And I'm using, let me get this out of the way here. I'm using a Ninja blender, and it really doesn't matter what kind of blender you have. This one's fairly new for us. I actually got it for my daughter, who got married a couple weeks ago. I got it for a shower gift, but she lives in Atlanta, and it was really more convenient for her to have it sent, so I kept this one and sent her another one.
One way to do it.
Yeah. Okay, and I need, let's see, where did our water go? Let me grab that. Yeah. Awesome. Did we get a measuring cup? We don't need one.
Use your markings on the blender.
1/2 cup of water. It really, it's a soup. It doesn't matter. Oops, let me go this way.
Is that 2 cups?
It's 2 cups altogether. Yep. If you look at the instructions here, I need the cucumber chopped up into maybe 8 pieces or so. I'm going to blend this, and I'm also going to be blending the cucumber, but I'm going to start with this one. And then we'll put the cucumber right in here. And it's a matter of the stuff that takes a long time to blend, I like to do that first, and that's just going to keep getting blended. So, grab that. Thank you. Awesome, and I'm going to add another 1/2 cup of water. That look about right? Okay. Okay. All right. These, if you would cut the ends off and then, just like, hunks. And I'm going to need my avocado. This avocado is a little soft, so I'm a little suspect of it. So we might end up not putting it in there. It's not too bad. This is how you pull a pit out of an avocado. You just stab it in there and then twist it, and it comes right off. And you can just dump that right into your composter then. And every once in a while, you'll be lucky enough to get an avocado that grows. I've got one at home that's about that tall right now. It's outside right now. I don't know how long it'll last. And I can't expect any avocados, but it's a nice looking little tree. Okay, in this recipe, there is a little bit of a problem. and that is that I didn't include all the ingredients. In the instructions here, you've got in this part here, you've got all the ingredients that you need right there. But in the instructions, I didn't include everything. And so when it says to add the remainder of the water slowly, add the remainder of the ingredients. That's really what it should say. So we're going to put in spinach, which I'm using the lettuce instead. And I'm, again, carefully measuring a handful. Any kind of greens would work, any kind. Last night I didn't have a cucumber, and I did this recipe, and I used carrots instead. We blended up carrots, and it was great. And lemon. All right, I'm going to put some lemon in there. And the onion, oh, I need this part. Yep. And we have a spoon over here?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to scoop the avocado right in here. And we'll just blend everything else together. The avocado gives it a creaminess. Sometimes if you don't have avocado and you want a creaminess, I'll sometimes use tahini. Does everybody know what tahini is? It's sesame paste. It's something that you would use if you were going to make hummus. That's good enough. I'll just take this and dump it right in. And I'll save just a little bit to make it a garnish. Right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn this on and it'll be finished. Of course, I need to add a little bit more water here. Altogether, you want about 2 cups of water. Now, here's the thing. If you went into the hospital and you were sick, and you couldn't eat for a few days, they would start you back on a liquid diet. And likely what you would have is something that has a lot of coloring and a lot of sugar and a lot of artificial flavoring. If you came to me, I would want you to have blended fruits and vegetables. When you first start out, you want something clear. I would juice it. I would juice some fruit or some vegetables. Therapeutically, if you've been in the hospital, you need some extra nutrients, you know? So I would rather have you have that. I would have you follow up with a full liquid diet. And a full liquid diet, can you hear me over this? Yeah. A full liquid diet is a liquid diet that has some substance to it, like a cream of mushroom soup would be a full liquid. But this has got more nutrients in it than most of the things that you would get in the hospital. Usually they'll do stuff like, you know, you would get ice cream and you would get pudding and stuff like that. But some people can't tolerate milk, but that's all you get. You only get dairy stuff on your tray. This is what I would like to see in the hospital. I would like to see this kind of a food instead. So let me show you. This is done. It's all raw food. Again, it needs to be salted, but I'm going to just skip that step. And we're just going to pour it into our bowl. Oh, mint is supposed to go in there too. So, yeah. Yeah, we're going to use it for garnish. And we'll use this too, because I like food to be pretty. There we go. Yeah? You'll have to come up and see it because it's going to slop right out of the bowl here. Okay. One other thing, I got some mushrooms here. I'm not even sure what kind they are. This is new to the farmer's market. It's somebody with he's got a red awning, a red tent over there. I suggest you go over there and check these out. This is anti-cancer right here. This easily could have gone into this dish. Okay. I am going to step aside and I'm going to have Emily take over. I need to clean up my area just a little for you.
I guess I should check to see if it's on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I am Emily Kniowski, and this summer I am interning with Pam at the Holistic Nutrition Center. I will be entering my senior year at Central Michigan University. I am in their dietetics program, so I want to become a dietitian. So I sought out Pam because I was interested in the more holistic approach to nutrition and understanding that nutrition is about looking at the whole body and how it fuels your whole body. And I have learned so much from her so far. But my task this summer was to help kickstart our kids' cooking classes. So what I'm going to be doing today is showing you one of our very simple recipes that you can do with 3 to 5-year-olds. And what we're going to do is make some strawberry popsicles. Very simple, only 2 ingredients, and a 3-year-old could do it. So what we'll need, and we got the strawberries from the farmer's market, and you'll just want to take the tops off of them. So a 3-year-old can do that, and I always like to just use my fingers. Very easy that way. So you just pull it right off. I'm going to do that with a few of these. Go right in here. All right. I'm just going to put the whole strawberry in there too. No knives needed. Just kind of squish them in there a little bit though. It's a little bit messy, but that's what makes it fun. I'm just going to try to fill it up.
Okay.
There's no set amount, just enough to fill a cup. Because once they start blending together, they'll really settle down more. Oh, there it is. Just enough. I'll do one more in there. But very fun. And kids love to get in the kitchen and help out in any way. And it's a fun way to get them introduced to the kitchen and be a little helper. They love to do that. And I'm going to use a couple leaves of stevia. And this is a very sweet plant. If you've ever, I actually just tried it for the first time last week, just a raw leaf. And it has a very sweet flavor. Yes?
What is it?
Stevia.
This comes from the Boovie farm. I don't know if they have any more. They've got a lot of herbs. I don't know if they've used them all up this year. This is the first year that you've been able to buy a whole bunch of them.
Now just screw this on here. Real tight. Real tight. There we go. I'll just pulse this a few times. Maybe. Now it's off. Now it's on. That's it.
Those newfangled gadgets.
We'll just pulse that a few times until it looks pretty chopped up. That looks pretty good. And then it's always fun, we have some nice molds to pour it into. You can also just use some of those Dixie cups, single servings. But then they have a popsicle that doesn't have any of those added sugars, no added colorings, but it's also very sweet.
And again, perfect for somebody coming out of the hospital, right? Because it's real food. This is therapeutic cooking, you know? We put little spoons in here. This is one that we did last night. So this is, they're cubes. I always do leftover chicken broth and stuff like that, or pesto. I'll put in one of these, but you get a cube. And these are great for kids or adults. And so Emily's did you have leftover from that?
Not really.
So that amount made one tray. But here's one with a spoon on it. So kind of cute, aren't they? Yeah. Truvia has had, nobody knows how they got it white. I mean, this is not white. And we don't know what all the process is and stuff. So I kind of step back from that because I'm not sure. Yeah? This I'm sure of. I can see that this is okay. Here's another popsicle. If you put it in a popsicle mold. So, all right, so you want to move to your one.
Time for that?
Let's see what time we've got. Yeah, we do have time.
Okay.
Yeah. We have time for one more, another recipe that you don't need a recipe for. Okay? Yeah? I mean, is that easy? I mean, you can take any soft fruit and do exactly the same thing, and you've got popsicles.
Okay, and another simple recipe, just 3 ingredients again. I'm going to be using these snap peas here. And these are always fun as well for the kids because they can snap off the ends. So they have fun doing that and then taking off that end there, the spine of it. So I'll just do that with a few of these really quick. But I love getting kids in the kitchen, helping out, introducing them to just different foods. And a lot of times when kids are cooking their own vegetables or preparing them, they're a lot more likely to try them that way. So what I'm going to do too is I'm going to get about a couple teaspoons of olive oil in the pan going.
See, this is what I think is fun, is having more than one person cooking, because you have to do this dance, you know? Right?
A little exercise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fun.
It is. It's fun cooking with other people. You know, if you look at different cultures like the Italians, I mean, the Italians make a day out of it. They cook together and then they spread out this long table and everybody just celebrates the feast that's, you know, that people have put together, and it's, to me, that's just wonderful. Let's get this.
So we're going to use those, and I'm also going to use another clove of garlic to give it a garlic flavor. Also, if you've got some fresh herbs at home or even some of the dried herbs too to give it a little flavor, I love using those in any of my cooking. Just easy, I just sprinkle some on to taste, however much you like. I love dill or cilantro. That's my favorite part. Just quickly chop this up. Throw that right in there. Let's do a few more of these. will just toss these into the pan as well. This just helps to bring out some of the flavor in them a little bit. I love doing this. Kind of makes them a little bit crunchy too if you do it just right. But very simple, very quick, and a fun way to get them in the kitchen. Yep.
Add cilantro or what else?
Dill. It just depends on which herbs you like. Maybe even a little bit of rosemary would be good in it too.
Maybe that.
Oh, yeah.
This also makes them a really pretty green too. I'll show you in a second. Make them a very bright green.
It's just snow peas and garlic and oil. That's it. Yeah. I think you're done.
Yeah, looks like it. Isn't that off? No, not
No.
long at all.
But you know,
And they become very bright.
part of the thing that I like to do in my office is show people it really doesn't take that much work to do this. You know, people think that they have time to take something from the freezer and put it in the microwave. This really doesn't take that much more
They become
time.
very bright.
Yeah. There we go. So, 4 things in just a few minutes. I mean, it really didn't take us that long. I think everybody can cook. Anybody who can eat should be cooking. Yeah? What I recommend, you know, is that everybody in the family have a signature dish. You know, you teach one person, if you taught a 3-year-old to do everything here, you know, except for the stir fry itself, you know, just peel it and everything. If each person had a signature dish and just kept repeating it, have the little kids keep repeating the same thing, they would become an expert at that dish. Yeah. Yes?
Do you have a website, and also do you have a nutrition breakdown of all the...
I do not do nutrition breakdowns. I like to look at, this is real food, this is full of nutrients from nature. So I don't break down the nutrients. This is the way we should be eating. There's nothing in here that you should not eat. Nothing. Yeah. So that's what I do. My website, if you look on the very front cover, it's on the front cover.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
Would you ever substitute chicken broth for the water in your soup?
You could. You could. A lot of people who come to me have some health problems, and I will sometimes teach them to make a bone broth. And you know, bone broth is real nutritious. You can get some minerals out of that, and that would be a perfect thing to add to something like this. So you're getting, you know, the nutrients from the vegetables and then from the bone broth too. Any other questions? Questions for Emily? Yes.
I use blenders.
Yes.
Let's just say blenders for many years, and nothing worked right. It just didn't blend for me the way it was supposed to. So somebody said, get a Vitamix. Well, they're so expensive, they were like cost prohibitive for me.
Yes.
So my husband got me the Ninja blender. It's like, oh my, what a world of difference that you can actually puree and do whatever
That's right.
with the recipe.
Yeah.
So there is a difference. So
yes.
if you have a regular blender at home, I want to call them generic ones, you know. I mean, it might be something that's a name brand, but it doesn't pulverize like you want it to do and break things down.
That's right. The new blenders have a lot more
makes a
power.
difference.
This one has blades all the way up that center spike. I know that the Vitamix doesn't have that, but a lot of people love the Vitamix. I kind of love this one too. So, and this is probably half the cost. You know. This one is a Ninja. Ninja Professional 1500 watts. I think Target? We got it at Target? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Can you say something about the Nuna beans as opposed to the fava beans?
Yeah, the Nuna beans are kind of, it's a different bean, and when the farmer who has these gave me this bag, and she's had me working with these all summer actually, just play with them. And one of the things, when you take, have you ever had the soy kernels that are crunchy? There's a way to do this. In fact, there's directions on the back side of this to make these just like that. The crunchy. To me, they might be a little too crunchy. Where is she? She's right back there. What color is her awning? It's a blue awning. So go over there. But she's got all different kinds of beans, and they're really fun to work with. This one, she wanted me to work with this one because she said, it's kind of a new bean, and she wanted people to try it. But it doesn't take that long to cook it. It's pretty easy to work with. So I would suggest pick up a small bag of it and give it a try. Another one that I tried was a zebra bean, and I really liked those. They look like zebras, they're striped, and when you cook them, they retain that look too, so they're kind of pretty. Yeah. Yes, use different kinds of beans, but the thing that I like people to do is to use a variety of things. When I'm done with my Nuna beans, I'm going to buy a different kind. When I'm done with that different kind, it's going to be a different kind. When I'm done with these kind of greens, I'm going to get a different kind of greens. Just keep rotating what you've got. Keep it in season. Find stuff that's fresh. Like right now, asparagus is going out of season pretty soon, and I probably won't have much of it during the year. Yeah, unless I freeze a little bit of it. But I won't have much of it during the year. I'll wait for it to come back into season. Yeah, that's just the healthy way to do it.
You did mention that you freeze, so you can freeze that soup.
You can freeze the soup. I like stuff to be fresh. I like it to be as fresh as possible. Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, in the wintertime, what do you do? Right?
My husband doesn't like all this green stuff.
Yeah.
So I have to,
He might like, yeah. See, he might like something like this if you dump a handful of beans in it. Yeah?
I don't know. She knows.
I know. There are some people who are really picky. So, any other questions?
Is there anything you could substitute for the asparagus or this soup? Probably not.
You could make a broccoli soup. You could. Leek, have you ever tried leeks? Leeks are wonderful. We lived in England for a couple years, and leeks were a staple over there. And they grew like baseball bats. They're huge. But yeah, I would try anything, any kind of other green, and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
It's only 2 pounds.
Yeah, add it to your composter if you don't like it, right? Okay. Well, I thank everybody for coming. It was fun.